Today, we are talking about how the start of accounting conference season has begun, what's gone well, what has not gone well with these conferences. We're also going to talk about podcasting, the highs and the lows. All of that here.
I like what you did there.
You like that? On a very special collab episode of Drink While You Think in the Sons of CPAs, soon to be renamed podcast. Listen along. Maybe you'll hear about it. I'm your host, Kenji, here today with my very special homeboy, Scotty Scarano. Scott.
Subbing from Matthew May.
Getting in from Matthew May. So do just like Matthew May would do. And Scott, tell everyone who our sponsor is today.
Today, our sponsor is Butler Davis Accounting for your accounting needs, and a doubly sponsor of the Sons of CPAs, soon to be. Stay tuned. Now they're sponsoring the weed, and Nicole Butler Davis is sponsoring with the leftover Halloween candy. Is that right?
With the beer, yeah. We'll talk about what we're
Pumpkin
drinking. Yeah,
ale.
I'm drinking another. I still had another leftover from JW and Nicole. This is pumpkin ale. Yeah, again, this may have been leftover from Halloween. It's from Iron Hill Brewery. It's about a 5.5%. I'm not.
It looks delicious. If it's creamy, it would be delicious. Think about that, and not the pumpkin spice, but like the pumpkin cream flavor, almost. Yeah. Like if that tasted like a pumpkin pie, oof. Makes me want some of that.
You want some of that? You want a little of that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's there we go. That's what I'm having.
Maybe, Scott, maybe I should go get a beer. Maybe I should.
Scott, what are you having?
So today I have Drip Sunset Sherbet Sauce. So I mean sauce and cream, like this is a little bit of blending together there. Yeah. It's pretty
cheers,
good.
Brother.
I'm not gonna get
cheers to you.
Not gonna. This is the vape. This is the zero vape, right?
Oh my!
This has already made an appearance on this on the show before. So
the collab episode here.
Yeah, when I say that Sons sponsored it, I mean I got the weed. So and maybe Sons reimbursed me for it, right?
Who knows? Talk to Acuity.
Got money in the bank.
See if he'll do that.
I don't know, man. Acuity, he tells me to spend the money. He'll make me spend it. I just don't have anything to spend it on. Right now, I'm going to do a rebrand. So let's kind of get into that.
Let's talk about CPAs. So it's a special. Yeah, you guys sponsor it. It was very nice of you to sponsor. So I want to hear why there's something special going on behind Sons here.
Well, as you know, Sons could mean a lot of things to me. I think of it as metaphorically the next generation. I think also it's like the thing up in the sky, the sun, like it's spelled a little differently. But the other thing is I'm doing episodes with Nicole. I'm doing a lot of episodes with Nicole, and she's not quite a son. She's not necessarily a son. I mean, you've met Nicole, right?
I don't think she is, at least. I mean, I don't want to judge, but you never
know. I always thought that it's a brand. It's its own thing. It could be its own thing. It doesn't have to be literally taken. Like there were females on Sons of Anarchy on the show, right? Like
true,
but not in the biker club. And appearances mean something. Appearances are everything. And then these unconfirmed biases that I have, I could be male centric, So I got to tap my own thing because an unconfirmed bias is unknown, right?
I like your thinking. I like the fact that you are, you're being thoughtful about this. You're being okay. It's fair. I like it. I mean, you're just trying to make sure you're taking care of the people.
I was on a journey. I was on a journey to figure out what's the new name. It's not Sons and Daughters. It's not the children of CPAs. It's not CPA prodigies or the offspring of CPAs. It's nothing like that. So then what is it? So I talk a lot, this.
Also, are you excluding EAs out of this too? I mean, come on, or just people from the profession in general?
I mean, EAs don't have kids though, right? I mean, I'm the exception. I'm the rare exception, but EAs don't have kids. How can you be the son of an EA?
What are you talking about?
I'm kidding. I know. I have 3 kids, so my kids could be son of an EA. So all right. All that being said, let's get serious. So I've been talking a lot about it, and it came out in a conversation. Somebody said you could do first. One night at Accounting Web, David Leary said you could do I'm not high on accounting. And that's okay. That sounds pretty good. That kind of stuck with me a little bit.
There was something to it, but you weren't quite with
Something
it. Right?
there, yeah. I mean, I've said CP aliens, and I thought that was cool, but Ackerman didn't like that, and not everybody reacted the way I would like with CP aliens.
You and
Not
I
everybody's
liked it,
CPA. Yeah,
That's
we
right.
liked it, but we got our A town at the heart. So then I was talking about it, and somebody said high accounting, and then it just that stuck with me. So then I said, wait, let's go with accounting high. It's a high school. We're going back to school. The sons are going to school.
Going to school.
We're graduating.
Someday you may graduate. Yeah.
And then, hey, we graduate. We get to go to accounting U. But right now, like, we're high. We're doing a little high. Like, so accounting high. But
hey, you know what this could do also? This could actually kind of follow Kanye, right? Think about his albums.
Ooh.
You even thought about that, had you?
No, I hadn't.
Oh.
Ooh, I like where you're going with that.
Okay.
Like, and we're not dropping out or anything. We're high achievers. Like, I definitely had like a 4.2 or 4.3 GPA in high school. Like, I did pretty good, but I also got a little high in high school. Like, I definitely got high in high school. I had a lot of fun. I loved high school. So, and not everybody likes high school, but there's a lot of things that can be played off of this. So I think it's its own thing, and it's stuck, like, because the people I was with liked it. And then every time I brought it up, everybody likes it for different reasons. Like, some people think it's leaning in a little too much to the marijuana reference, high. But if you do the branding right on something like this, it's like lockers, and then you could still use the pop figures, and it's just like, it looks like a high school. And then
there you go.
Think of all the metaphors and the different, like Nick's tips. That's a tips, like in between classes, and then the regular shows could be regularly scheduled programming of like, this is your course, or this is the subject matter of these things. And then you've got the book reports that I'm doing with Twyla. That fits right in there. That nestles itself in.
So, okay. What has Ackerman's response been to this?
He loved it.
He loved it.
He liked it. Yeah.
He loved it.
And
because all I can think
he
of,
likes something. He likes things.
something that you came up with. Because this reminds me of that great quote. That quote I always loved from Ackerman that you used to have on that slide deck. You remember?
What it is? Do you remember? You probably remember more.
I kind of remember it. It was like, it's amazing that the way that your brain works, or something like that. It's like amazing that you're able to function the way that you are. And I say that like with the biggest compliment or something.
Yeah, that was, you got the essence of it.
I didn't get the rhyme.
Yeah, I mean, Ackerman puts up with me more than anybody else, and man, do I give him a lot of shit. He's a good guy.
Okay, so he's down
a lot of grief.
So last question before we start jumping into our other questions: when is this new brand debut going to launch? When do you think it's going to hit?
I don't know. I want to do it right. I want it to land, and I want to port one over, because this is growing an audience. Like, people are listening to Sons of CPAs now,
I think I see this will be good when we get into the second half of this. We talk about what's the highs and lows of podcasting. We'll maybe talk about this. There's a little difference we've got going on in our podcast. I want to explore a bit, but before we do that, okay. You and I have been on the road together kind of for the past 2 weeks. We just come
Wilburys.
Come off the road.
Are you my Tom Petty? Which one are you, Bob Dylan?
My Dylan, Petty. Oh man, I don't know. I'll at least one of the guys.
Roy Orbison.
Let's pick one of the guys that are alive. Yeah, I don't even know. Are any of them alive?
Tom Petty's dead, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I'd probably pick Petty because he's my favorite of those guys.
Bob Dylan's alive, isn't he?
I think he is alive. Yeah. Okay, so we've been traveling, like, it's the start of the accounting season. Like, it just kicked off. Like, the season truly just kicked off of like accounting conferences, right?
Yeah.
You and I were two of the people. There were a few others with us who hit like back to back. We were in Florida at Accounting Salon, then we just finished up at Accounting Web Summit out in California. Okay, I want to explore how we're seeing this whole conference season.
Paget
I know that's true. Paget had one. You've really been getting it. So explore a little bit of like what we think is working so far with the conference and what's not. Let's start with I like to build to something positive. So let's start with
let's start with the Paget one.
What's going wrong so far? And I got the first one here.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Is it true? We both right now have COVID.
Yeah, we did get a little sick. We had a common case of the COVID. We don't sound like it, but
I'm coming out of
we're bedridden.
I'm coming out of mine. I think I'm coming out of mine. Mine. I literally popped it like.
Well, you know what they say.
As soon as I got home.
you know
I
what
was like,
they
"Oof."
say? They say good looking people don't get COVID. So that's why we got it.
Us ugly suckers over here. Like,
Yeah.
yep, sorry, we got COVID.
So I don't know.
All the
I
pretty
literally
people.
did see an article. Shout out to Andrew Wall for sharing that article. I didn't even open it, but it did say the headline
Was
was
that
like
Andrew
good looking
shared
people
that?
don't
No,
get
man.
good looking people don't get COVID. So yeah, I mean, like, so we've been afraid of this virus for 2 years now, right? Like
Yeah.
this is a
Oh
big
yeah.
fucking deal. I feel like I was like dodging it, and like I felt like I was very agile, elusive, like
Totally.
dodging from the
Totally.
whoop, not getting COVID. Whoop, I just traveled this way. I just went here. So it's a bit of a downer to my shall I say ego, but it's
Dude,
like it's a bit of a
100%.
downer.
100%. When Matthew and I were talking about this, he laughed. He said, the thing you're most upset about is not being sick, is the fact that you are a mere mortal. You thought you could, and I was like,
I
you're
like
right.
that.
I'm
I like
annoyed.
that.
I'm
Yeah.
annoyed because I was
Like
like, oh,
I thought I was living my best life. I thought I
I
was
did
healthy.
too.
And now I got a tickle in my throat and I was
Super immunity. I
exhausted. I
thought
was
I had.
tired. I feel pretty good right now. But for the last day, I felt pretty tired. I was like, I couldn't even get
Yeah.
myself to work out. Like I've been trying to work out, but I've just been going on walks and I had to sit on the bench the other day.
Ooh, I
I
did
took
my
Greg to
first
school.
workout this morning since last week, so that bummed me out. But I'm back.
You feeling
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, I feel pretty good now.
All right.
I mean,
All right.
feeling better now. I mean, it's one of those things where okay, it's we can kind of
Got some plasma.
tease and joke about it. Luckily, you and I are rocking and rolling, doing well. Some other folks we know are doing well too. But I guess some people
Well, we got to
don't.
be sympathetic to it. We're not joking when
Absolutely,
it comes to the virus. I think we were just picking on ourselves there
we are
to
picking
a
on ourselves.
degree.
We were very. I was going to say, I think as groups, we were like, hey, listen. As soon as we knew we had it, we told everybody we did. Take care of yourselves. Do what you got to do. But
Yep.
dang it, I cannot believe. I thought I was like super. I thought I was super immune. But we'll be ready. We'll be ready to go. You thought you had. Thought we had the Superman going.
Superman.
But all right, what else?
Powerful,
What else about these conferences? Like, what do you, as you think back about the first few, what's like, ooh,
well,
didn't dig.
So
Give me another thing.
I'm not even going to take a dig because I thought Paget put on a great conference. They've never really
Awesome.
done anything like this before.
Okay.
They invited quite a few speakers. It was, like, to me, I'll be honest, I got along with the speakers more than any of the peers there. But then again, it was it was its own little production. Amanda was there, and Blake
So
was
no
there. He
real
was a speaker
negatives,
there.
really.
Yeah,
Like you're feeling pretty.
I thought it was great. I had some great conversations,
Yeah.
but I brought Juana with me. So this is an interesting point here too, because I'll get to this because
Okay.
other people have brought their spouses.
Significant others to the
Yeah.
accounting conference.
And so I eased my way into it. I got to go in. I went home early. Every night I was there. I didn't go out and drink and go crazy like I usually do with my pageant friends. It was just there to a degree. Like I just wanted to hang with one. I didn't want to go out and party. So I didn't even really drink that much. But we had a hotel right on the beach, which that was awesome because you could just keep the door open. You don't have to get the sand on you. It was just like others on the second floor too. So it was pretty cool.
Nice.
And then it was at a country club. So that thing has been around early 20s. Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of rich history there. That's pretty cool to see that kind of stuff. And, and it's just, that was a good, nice, relaxing, my way to ease into this 3-week vacation, almost not really vacation, but I got to say, I learned more in the 3 weeks about myself, about our profession. And I had the most enriching conversation, more than I've had on a year doing this podcast.
But I would say, to back up about bringing Juana, I had something similar last year because I brought my wife, my family before Engage started, right? And I did the same thing. We had this super relaxed, like chill time in Vegas, and then everybody hit in Vegas. I was like in a really good, I was relaxed. I had not been going crazy like we always do, And so by the time that hit, I was like in a good space. Now, my wife, Rochelle, would have zero interest in like hanging around an accounting conference outside of the fact that I'm sure she'd love hanging with everybody because we have cool friends, I think. But also she's like, I don't need to be around a bunch of accountants, but that's kind of interesting thinking about bringing the spouse. I think there's a way to do that.
Stats with your family, brought his wife.
He brought his family
to the accounting web, and I thought that was interesting too. It's like so then I tried to convince Juana. Nice. So I'm going to the Carbon X, and and I have an extra ticket now. So I'm trying to convince Juana to go with me. Our 15-year anniversary is coming up, so I thought maybe I could take her with me. I can't convince her yet. She don't want to leave the kids again. So we left the kids at home.
Damn
we went to Florida. So So yeah, so that part of the conference I thought was a
Okay.
good way to ease into it.
What else was there anything else? Like I'll get, well, you kind of went one.
So there was a lot of vendors there. A lot of our,
I'll give one
pals,
again. We're doing, got to do dislikes first. Anything
dislikes.
dislikes?
All right, dislikes.
I thought, and this is a little bit tough on the old accounting web summit because it's their first time. It's kind of like you mentioned with Paget, like it's the first time through. So it's like, we're trying to figure things out.
Mhm.
I thought the people at Accounting Web Summit were great. I think, however it came about, and you and I were both moderators of panels,
On
like
panels,
I think you did a better job than I did, but I would have much rather have had some different topics to cover. Like and maybe you just kind of took the bull by the horns and changed it. Like I wasn't crazy about my topic. I would have, there were 100 other things I would have liked to talk about that I thought we could have gotten a good discussion going on. So I think there could have been some better topic selection, but for a first time through as a conference, that's kind of tough to get. I would like to see that improved next time, but I don't know.
I gotta say that the topic for us, I felt a little flustered. I didn't even know where we were going with it because it was like just a phrase. It was just do a little bit of alliteration.
It was a typical Scott,
idea.
Typical Scott.
We backed our way into it. It was a good people on the panel. Like
really good.
If I'm gonna, we had great people on our panel. So I don't think the subject even mattered, but I didn't have a lot of power to change it. Like I said, well, can we shift this? And they said, nope, we've already submitted the CPE. So, all right. But I thought anybody that was there probably learned something from Matthew. Shout out to Matthew. I think he did a great job holding it down and making it educational. Otherwise, I thought we had great Kellys on there. We had 2 Kellys and Chris Farrell. So the other thing about the panels was it was great, but they kept inserting and changing it. So both of us, we experienced, they gave us a panel and then they changed up the people on the panel immediately. And then months after we've been planning, they give us, here, we got a sponsor on your panel. All right. Well, I know Chris. I thought that was great. Like Chris Farrell, me are buddies. So I think he's going to definitely contribute to the conversation, whatever it is, doesn't matter. But then like 5 days before, we got another person for your panel. This was going to be 6 people on one panel. I was like, in this small room, like it wasn't a huge room or anything. And it wasn't like we had 2 hours to talk. So I gave pushback a little bit on the next one. And then they did. I don't know if they conceded or the person on the other one, but so we just
there was the moving shuffling panelist thing that I think a lot of people
musical
went through.
chairs.
I think they were trying to make sure they were taking care of everybody and stuff, but it got a little bit, again, it felt not necessarily terrible or bad, but like a first timer. Okay, we're trying to figure this out for the first time. I think they'll get their things next time. I think that
I thought otherwise. I mean, and that's my only critical, and honestly, it wouldn't have even mattered. Even if they put somebody else on our panel, we would have made it work. It would have been fine. It wouldn't have been that crazy. I just thought it would be a little crowded, and I was really concerned about the stage presence of 6 people versus 5, which is still kind of a lot. So not everybody's going to be able to talk, and it would just be segmented. So I was looking more out for the content than anything else.
I still liked you kind of out there playing like the Maury, the Phil Donahue, like the walking out in the audience. I got the selfie with you while you were actually like in the audience. Cool, that was cool. So it was good. I just wanted to have fun with it because it's the first time I've done a panel. First time I've been a moderator on a panel in real life. So it was pretty cool. I mean, fair to say, I didn't have many complaints about anything. I mean, I was pretty happy. Partly, that's one of my favorite things to do is get out and like learn from others and just get out in the community. So, and we're out in good places. Maybe we'll pivot now over to the good side of it. Like, dude, we were in, you did 3 of them, but like Seaside, Florida, that place was freaking amazing.
That was amazing. So
in San Diego.
So Accounting Salon was in a different place this year, which this was my first accounting salon. First ever. I was accounting salon virgin before this, and now I popped my cherry. That was great. I thought Seaside was such a cool, like, alternate reality, right? Like getting cool. There. Yeah. This is like they live in their own little bubble. This is a vacation bubble. And it's a big bubble. Great. Those houses are incredible.
Houses are crazy. The golf carts, the bikes we rode everywhere. It was just a really that vibe there was incredible. Of just like it's not the real world at all. But I mean, it's for you doing for a conference anyway. That's fine. I mean, I thought it was great. Like in San Diego is always like a year-end playground. I mean, dude, have you ever I came back and I'm like, holy cow! I'm like, have I ever gotten this tan at accounting conferences, never. Like we
Like
were
this was,
outside so much in the
dude, this was the best
ocean,
of both
pools.
worlds. On both
Unreal.
conferences, I felt like there was a lot of learning to be done, but a lot of space to sharpen our axes and to really like, I was able to meditate each one of those days, and I worked out, and it's like nothing felt rushed. Nothing. Usually with these conferences, I always go from the hotel to the conference hall and don't spend a lot of downtime because I feel like I paid for this. I got to get my CPE. I got to do this and that.
Banging through it.
But so much learning happens in between time, and in the space that you give yourself, and the space that you can, like, we were in a house with one of your business partners, right? One of your fellow leadership people, as well as Jay Kimmelman, which I've known for a while. I never really hung with him for too long.
It's great.
And Liz Mason, and Byron Patrick,
and
Joel.
Like
that was a pretty cool house to live in. That was like the Animal House, right?
It was the fact that we got that conference. There really weren't hotels there, so you had to kind of bunk up with folks. I mean, what another way to get to know other people in the industry really well, right? I mean, like you and I had known each other for a long time, but still, like it was so. Every night, right? You and I would go out at the end of the night.
Feel like I've known you my whole life.
Didn't matter what time it was. You and I'd go sit on that porch at night and have a little nightcap and just kind of talk about the day and stuff. It was just a great. That was
one night though. I slipped away. Y'all were all hanging out, and I went upstairs and I was able to go to bed. Like it wasn't a big deal. Like I didn't give a shit if anybody's y'all came in my room and tried to wake me up, and I was just did. I think I said something, but then I went right back to sleep. I mean, it wasn't like no big deal, right?
It was good. What else about? I mean, what other things you felt like? I mean, the locations were just on.
Locations were spot on. There was comments by some about the content, and I thought the content was good. Yeah. Some people say it was a little tired, like we're talking about the same thing over and over again. But I think that content evolves, right? You could talk about. We could have the same topic on a podcast or whatever.
You're talking about
year after year.
Specific.
Salon, specific. I'm just kind of shifting from thing to thing, and I think you got to know your audience too. Not every conversation is going to be super high level or super future forward. Some of it, we do got to kind of rehash certain things because our opinions evolve. Like what we thought last year might not have been what we thought this year. So I thought one cool thing about Salon was it wasn't a lot of it was not top down. Like I know this, you need to learn this. Most every session I was in was kind of like panels, and what Liz did on her panel was
almost like workshops, like panels, just everybody was involved, right? Which is,
I kicked it off and I was on a panel, so I felt comfortable the rest of the time, right? We were talking about staffing and capacity and shit. When we started about the panel, I thought I knew what I needed to know about staffing capacity. I had a great thing going. And then by the time we got to do the panel, like when we were planning, everything was great. By that time I had 2 people quit. So I got to talk about capacity on both sides of it. And I don't know shit,
that one almost felt like, and maybe that's why I've struggled a little bit with Accounting Web, because coming back to back, being at Salon, it's just a different one. You can't really quite replicate that, but that felt like real live case studies or things that everything that was presented was not like some, here's how you do X, Y, and Z. It's like, here's stuff I'm going through right now. This just happened like yesterday or the day, whatever, or last month. Those felt like super.
Well, you and Amanda are pretty good at stuff like that. I always noticed you guys are always pretty good at giving your honest truth about what's going on. I mean, I think a lot of people are, but I knew y'all for a little while, I guess, before. And
she
so
does a fantastic job with that.
And some people feel like they need to posture and position themselves into everything that's, working, but what's not working too. And then what didn't work first and now is working. Like, what have you learned along the way? And I think that it makes it puts another level of, understanding to where you're at and appreciation of where you're at too, as a firm or in our development, because our worlds are changing very rapidly. When it comes to it, either we're deciding it, and I think I've said this or you said this to me, like I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm, because of all the change, I'm running away from something or running towards something, and usually it's because I seek out the change. I want things to change.
We like the change. We chase after the change sometimes. We like to disrupt.
A couple of good C words. Now, this is the COVID collaboration, chasing change.
Yes, here we go.
We could keep going. We could keep going with that. This is we're not going to go into a conundrum.
Something else I thought was really good over the past few weeks too. I don't know, for some reason I just really felt like I was much more connected and engaged with the sponsors. I felt like they did a really good job of just
at
kind
Salon.
of at Salon. I even felt like at
Web too.
or they were engaged. What I meant was they were engaged with us. Like they were very
engaging. Oh hell yeah! Like
just
they
like
were just one of the guys, like one of the, just one of the crew. Like right.
I appreciate that. Right. I appreciate like getting to know who they are and getting to know their product. They're like, okay, why did you join? Rippling, or why did you join? Or OnPay, and you just to hear them kind of, get to know them as people is a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal. So like all those. So I don't know. I that felt different. I think probably because those two conferences are a little smaller. I hope it doesn't change too much as we start to get to the bigger ones. Like we have AICPA Engage coming up here next. That's going to get big. But looking for ways to say, hey, I've got to take the relationship a lot of people off the floor. Like right. And kind of
a lot of people listen to our partners episode and they get it and they get what our sentiment is. And I feel like the ones that did listen, they're acting differently. Like their actions are
they came and talked to us about it. They had, right. You and I were in a situation where we heard one of the tech partners like had their team listen to it. Their partnership team listened to the episode that you and Nicole and I did.
And we were raw. We were honest about everything. Like I don't think we were filtered, and that's going to be the name of the next. There's going to be Untappd and Unfiltered, where I rate weed. But we were unfiltered about that, right? Like
we were unfiltered about it, right? And a little over the top at times, but I think it makes more of a point, more of an emphasis there. But I don't know, man. I'm encouraged.
Such a good idea that somebody else probably already took it. Like I feel like I'm sitting on this one. I'm sitting on this gold mine, right? Just like Untappd. Now. I'm sure the guys from Untappd are making some good money on that app. I feel like
they are.
I could do something, be the pioneer of weed.
There was someone, one of Unfiltered. Chris, out of DC, has a firm. He knows some of the Untappd guys who actually started that. So anyway, I need to connect with them at some point. Okay, so I think
we digress.
But I'm feeling like I'm feeling super optimistic and happy about the way the conference season's kind of going. We got a bunch more of these lined up, and like I'm excited.
You also think it's because we have our rose-colored glasses on? Like, not everybody is as optimistic as we are about shit. Some people always have something to complain about.
We're very much that way. We've talked about before with conferences, like this is how we like to do it. Doesn't mean everyone should do it our way, but like conferences can, whether it's the type of conference or even at the big ones, figuring out who your community is within it, you can find it. I mean, I'm telling you, the accounting community is vast. It is big. And, I would say there are some of these conferences that are expensive. There's some that are not expensive. There are your people. Like we've been in it for a while. We've kind of figured out who our people are and we like adding more people to it. Nobody likes adding more than you do. Like every time we go somewhere, these group text messages you start creating get like
how many people did we have on this group text?
I don't even know, man.
Web, like I feel like that's its own little subset of like communities too.
The conference within the conference, as we kept saying.
The text con, like
you just kind of like So I don't know. Not everybody's in the same spot we have been.
Not everybody has an iPhone.
Scott will let you, if you find Scott at the conference, just tell him to he will add you to our text message thread as long as you have an iPhone. If you don't, it doesn't matter.
If you don't, then get your iPad, because most people that don't have an iPhone still have an iPad or still have a way to do iMessage. Almost 90% of people that don't have some hidden way that they still go on Apple devices and they like it.
It's a whole other episode, Scott, and this whole Apple fetish or whatever he's got going on.
Is it a fetish though? Everybody loves Apple, man. Like you can't knock it. It's the best.
I don't know, man. Some people are big time Android,
I know, but they're not really that loyal to Android. They're just anti-Apple. Like it's not Android, it's anti-Apple. There's a bunch of A's there. Acuity's anti-Apple conference, right? Is that what you guys?
Android conference.
Yeah, your Android conference.
Anti-Apple.
Android. Then I went with the C, like man. Let's just go. Like we're
all right. Let's flip it around. Let's hit our last topic here. All right, this could be a long one too. Like we're already going long for Drink While You Think episode.
Yeah, dude, this is short for a Suns episode. So go 3 hours now. Fuck it. We're gonna go 3 hour marathon.
I can't do that. I gotta. There's no way I can.
People listen to our longer episodes more than they do the shorter ones. Man, yeah. Like
that's crazy.
And I'll see it too. Like I left some of them just longer than I thought. Like So I started with Jeff Wilson's episode. That was the most listened to episode up until that point. It was the evolution of the profession. And I was going to break it up into 2 episodes. Then I had a crisis. I was like, well, how much am I going to cut out to try to make this an hour? And I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to leave it 2 hours. And that had the most listens. That was the first episode to hit 200. And then the next one to hit 300 was like another hour and a half episode. It was the cloud. I'm not sure if the model cloud accounting firm was an hour and a half, but I think Stats was over an hour, and that one hit 300.
Okay.
And Ron Baker's was an hour and a half. So I'm like, let's do it. Let's just talk until we can't anymore. Right.
Yeah.
Not this. This we can stop when you want to.
No, we got to keep
talking
going,
about time. It doesn't even matter.
But speaking about, we're talking about podcasts here. So here's what I looked up. As we speak right now, Scott, you and I have been with the 2 collab units here today. Sons, Drink While You Think, have put out a total of 190 episodes.
Holy shit.
How you like that, dude?
Ooh, that's impressive.
We're a little over 100. You guys are like high 80s, right? We're real close, right? There's a lot. You guys have been doing it less. We have, and you have some shorter episodes.
On
but
this screen, I have a wealth of episodes that have been recorded that have not been edited or released, but I have a calendar of all that because I'm kind of we all got the same calendar now in the Earmark family. But I put all my shit on that calendar, and it's like I got 42 episodes that haven't been released yet.
Dude, see, this is where here's a big difference. I don't know whether this is the good or the bad. You and I have such a different perspective on this one. We bang the stuff out and we see how fast we can upload it. I don't do much editing. Luckily, our awesome marketing team, Mary Margaret. Thank you, Mary Margaret. Big shout out to you. You're awesome. And Lisa.
Shout out to Lisa.
They kind of knock these out quick, but we don't mess around with editing them too much. You, however, like it's a big deal to you, right? To get like the ums, the uhs, all the stuff out, getting the phonics, like getting the polished sound right.
Yeah, it's got to sound good. Like this is our collaboration. So half of us sound beautiful, and the other half is on an AirPods. Like out in the outside, and that's fine. Like this is the contrast that we're providing. Oh, okay, you got the blue. Got the blue. All right. So and I'm not criticizing yours because it sounds fine in my ears.
Yours sound much better.
I'm super critical of it, man. Like first, I edited the hell out of it only because I couldn't stand the sound of my own voice. Like when I couldn't just release something that I didn't like. So I got to like it to a degree. And I definitely over edited on the first half of a year. Like for the first 6 months, I didn't even know what I was editing or what I was doing. And I was just learning. There's a lot of garbage, but I think that's even so, some of those conversations were pretty good. It was just like what I was releasing was kind of garbage. But now like the conversations are better. So it's easier to edit anyway.
It is.
Because I don't give a shit about the ums and uhs because, that it was your episode actually last year that I realized it could be released without editing. And that's what Ackerman said to me immediately after we recorded with you. He calls me up and he's like, you can release that tomorrow. That's our episode. And so that's actually when I started releasing episodes. And then it was 6 months later till I released yours. Not 6 months, but it was like 6 weeks maybe. And by the time that came out, that was our first episode to hit 100, I think.
Was it?
That was the first one to hit 100. Yeah.
Where are you guys? Okay, I finally just looked at our numbers. Because I've never looked at them. And so I've almost specifically never looked at them. You look at yours a lot, right? You're kind of like, you're pretty, I mean, every time I talk
I'm watching it. I love growing things, right? And not physically. Like I don't have a garden. I don't have the patience for that kind of shit. I really didn't. I didn't have the patience for this podcast stuff because it's a fucking slog, man. If you gotta think about it, like the podcast world.
This is one of the lows of these podcasts. I mean, they're a slog. There's a lot.
God. Yeah. There's a lot of shit out there and there's a lot of stuff to wade through. Even if you're trying to listen to a podcast, like there's so much out there, but also not everybody even knows how to listen to a podcast in our world. I've talked to people and they said, how do I listen to a podcast? Like really? Like, so, we're on a different part of that curve, but then also, there's the entertainment part. There's so many different things out there. So growing an audience is hard. And I grew a firm to the point where it's good where it's at. Like, I got to take some big steps at my firm to grow that. So I've been trying to grow this, and I've been paying a lot of attention to the numbers, because the only way you get better is to figure out what you're doing wrong and what's hitting, what's not, what's working, what's not working. So it's a very short feedback loop for me.
I know how
And
much you love doing this. Like, right. I've really seen it because we hang together. We're really good friends. And I see how much you enjoy it. But there's got to be, I mean, obviously the slog, but like there's got to be some other stuff that you're just like, bro, this is annoying. Like this is just,
oh, it is
yeah. What else like drives you crazy about? It's been
about
like,
the podcast.
yeah, but podcast.
So it's hard coordinating guests, but
Mm.
obviously I've done a lot of that. And it's also hard to know. It's hard to, let's see. I wasn't ready to talk
Do you have a
about
hard,
the
do you
bad
have a
stuff
hard,
in-
do you have a hard time asking guests to join?
No,
I
I'm
didn't
pretty
think
shameless.
so.
I'll ask anybody.
I
Yeah.
watched you ask Doug Sleater right there.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, Doug Sleater, hey, can you come on podcast? You asked him in the first 5 seconds of like meeting him. So,
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
he gave me his card, and he was like, definitely. Like I'd never met the guy, but I'm pretty shameless with that. Some people say no, but then sometimes, so what'll happen sometimes is
People
people
say
say
no?
no. Sometimes they don't say no, but they just don't respond. And I got a couple examples of those, but then they come back around and then they want to be on,
why do you
later.
think people say no?
I think
they
some people,
nervous?
it's not worth their time. Some people don't think, this isn't going to help me. This isn't going to benefit me. I'll, and then eventually if they see an angle, then they'll want to do it. If they see a way they could promote something or whatever it is. Sometimes people are maybe shy, but I think that's bullshit too, because once somebody gets on, I can make them feel comfortable. Like it's not about, like, sometimes people do get a little nervous, and they get a little, I get nervous doing this kind of shit too sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like there's that. It's hard to coordinate. God, it's hard working with Ackerman sometimes too, but I know it's hard working with me. Like, so when I initially did this, because I wanted to have
wrangling in your co-host. Yes, I will
And-
say that now that he's not here, that is a tough, tall order. And
right
back to us too. I'm sure this is the
Sure.
same. Yeah.
wrangling your partner, right? Like you
No
guys,
kidding.
I think what you're doing has a deeper level of growth as people. Like you guys are putting it all out there, and you're pretty fucking honest about everything that you're doing.
Yeah, we'll tell.
And it's not, to you, it's not necessarily about the production, and this isn't like an art form for you. To me, it's an art, like to do this. And I want to put out something that I could be proud of, and that I could go back and like, I get it. And if somebody doesn't get it at first, because usually the shit that I do, people don't get it initially. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, really? And then eventually it comes around, like, oh, I get it. I like it. And so usually that's the reaction I get for 90% of the time. And then there's always
it's interesting though, thinking
that
about
are always hate it.
yours being, I understand that, knowing you the way I know you is you do see it as an art form. I think I see ours as, it's almost like a weekly diary, just of like me and Matthew, like what the hell happened this week? Like what happened at Acuity this week? It's becoming more of that, because one of my pain points has always been, what topic? Like, what do you want to talk about? Like, and I get in my head a little bit of like, what does the audience want to hear? What's going to get more listens? Or is it more important to go, what's just authentic to me, of like, what am I dealing with right now that we should just talk about?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're getting better about that. I think we're leaning a little bit more into, let's just own like and do the stuff that like happened to us, and maybe somebody out there will find it interesting. Less about like, ooh, this thing will grab the attention of the audience. But
I'll
it's
say
still,
this,
it still
it
kind of
helped
drives me a
me.
little crazy.
Early days, I watched one of your episodes, and you guys were playing an Acuity Con, and it was raining, and you were talking about the creative constraints, and you were brainstorming kind of like, and you were talking about your brainstorming sessions that week. And then creative constraints, that stuck with me. And I had heard it before. I've talked about it before, but then thinking, all right, what if I create the constraints? So what if I did episodes with Nicole, and we did topics that started with a letter, and we
Wait
just
a minute.
ran with
Wait
that.
a minute. Are you saying that I inadvertently started the things like the P's and all the?
Yes, you did.
Oh, shit.
It's your fault.
Kidding
And
me?
we're stuck. We have gone deep with the P's. We're in a hole of 25 episodes now of P words, different P words. And now we've got a product. Now we're selling a product, $5,000 per episode. We will talk about your product, and it will be Nick's tips on products featuring blank. We will do 2 trailers. Nicole will do a post that'll get 10,000 views on LinkedIn. We will do 2 ads out of it all for $5,000. It's evergreen content.
So
that you can
I
use.
need to apologize to the profession and to the universe as a whole for creating this
monsters
black hole that like Scott and Nicole have jumped down, and just I don't know if you're ever going to come out of it.
So it's actually, I don't think we ever will, because Dave Leary said this is its own show. Take this out of Sons of CPAs. You and Nicole just do your own show, Nick's Tips. And I told Nicole today, I said, we got to have a different name. If it's its own thing, it's not hashtag Nick's Tips, because some people think we're saying Nick's, like Nicks, like his tips. And it's not Nick's Tips. It's Nick's Tips,
Nick who?
Nicole, Nick's.
I know. I thought you meant like, okay.
Some people say, who's Nick? Like they hear it phonetically, right? Like it's Nick. It's his tips.
Understanding that
it's
it's a guy.
Yeah. But then again, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, it's the content itself. The name doesn't really fucking matter. Like none of that stuff matters. It's just us talking about different topics about running a firm. And it just happens to be that most of the big topics that were important to me at the time all started with the letter P, right? I started listening out things to talk about profitability, processes, people. I could go on.
I know you can go on.
Yeah.
You're gonna create a rap at some point, and it's gonna be all with the letter P. I'm gonna see how many bars you can spit.
I'm trying to come up with my next rap. Man, you know what we should do? I should practice my rap. I don't know if I'm ready.
You need to practice it. I do think
it's 45 minutes in, and that's where I buried my rap in stats.
You need to practice. You need to practice it.
Mark.
Do you want to try a little quick, just see how you just kind of go here on the back end of it?
No, I can't.
Okay. We'll work on it separately, because the thing I want you to work on is, and we'll maybe wrap up here as we get ready to rate our drinks and your weed, I guess, we'll bring it back to the next conference, which is Engage. I guess some people going to Carbon X, you're going to be there.
So I will perform it at Engage.
Yes, that's what I
I'll
want to
do
hear.
it. If you let me crash with you at the Acuity suite, then I'll definitely perform it. Guys, you gotta let me crash with you, because I don't have a place yet.
No, you're gonna get a place, Scotty. You're gonna get a place. You're a big boy. You can do it. I know you can. You can do it.
I'm just a little toddler.
Wana and family, please. You can get him a hotel room at the Cosmo.
Hotel rooms are cheap. It's not about the money. It's like fucking $50 a night or some shit like there. It's not that expensive.
But here's what I also want too. I'm gonna have you. I want to have some at our Acuity lounge that we believe we will be doing with another.
The Liquidity Lounge.
Acuity Liquidity, hopefully legible lounge we're going to be doing.
At
Engage.
Liquid Legible Lounge.
That we will be doing. We will
liquid for the drinks, right?
That's right. We will be I would also like to have a couple of house DJs playing tunes, which I'd like Lil Toddler to be
LT.
one of them. LT to be one of them.
LT.
So you come by at night
DJ,
before you
after call me DJ Sex.
After
DJ S3X.
After you get out of sessions, at Engage, before you go to the parties, you stop by a little bit and you come by after some of the parties, and we'll have some different accounting folks spinning some of their own tunes. I'm working on, you're going to be doing that. I may be doing that. I'm working on Will Lopez doing that.
Are you hinting that I need to put together a playlist?
Yes, I am.
Right.
Please do.
I might just go off the top. I got to feel the room. You got to read the room for that. You can't
make
a playlist before.
Got to read the room.
Hands, because then it's like, well, wait, this person's here. They would like this song, and that this person would like this song. And I like to take requests too. Even if somebody requests something, I won't necessarily play it, but I think.
Yeah, I mean, you like that. You want to make sure that that is important. You read them. I think what you can do is you can make your
work the rap into it.
Well, work the rap into it, but you can also end up you can kind of get a playlist there and ready and queued up, and then work off of that playlist while you're in the room, and you can kind of change it up and move things around.
I mean, you were in the car on the way to Salon.
I was with
that. None of that was planned. None of that was planned, but I thought that was pretty good. I thought that played.
It was good. It was good. All right, I'm going to rate this beer, and you're going to think about it. Yeah, however you're going to rate whatever it is you're smoking there. I don't know. Remember, this is for us on a scale of 0 to 5 in quarter point increments, and I've got mine pulled up here. We're going to pull it up on the Untappd. Again, feel free to come follow us here on Untappd. I've got the pumpkin ale from Iron Hill Brewery. This is a pumpkin. It says pumpkin yam beer. I'll tell you what, this is straight hot garbage. This is terrible. I'm going 1.5.
Sorry, Nicole.
She and JW don't care. It is not my style. Like, oh, that is
really. You didn't complain one bit.
I know. I was kind of quiet about it. Look how much I have left.
Good at all.
Look how much I have left. I have a ton of it left. You know what's going to happen here?
No, you like forced your way through it.
Watch this.
Woo!
I just got thrown on my plants in the backyard.
Is it good for the plants?
Yeah, it's all organic.
Garbage
I don't know,
to plants.
I don't know.
All right. Well,
like
sorry, pumpkin people. The pumpkin people are gonna
nasty. The pumpkin people. There's some peas for you.
Rate my. So I've been smoking this for months now. Like I have 3 different vape pens, and actually I just refilled it, but I grabbed this one. So Sunset Sherbet is an indica. It is sunset, and I have not been. Dude, this is really like. I changed my life by not smoking until 420. Like I wonder why that exists, and it's because you could actually live a productive life and then get high after 420, and it's fine. It all works out. Everybody's happy. So yeah, this was not the first time I got high today, but I didn't smoke that much earlier before we jumped on, and not that high. Sunset Sherbet sauce. That's like a triple S, so S3X, right? My Sunset Sherbet sauce. I will rate this. I got nothing bad to say about for weed, at least to me. Sometimes there's some really good weed, but sometimes it's good weed, but I'm on a bad state of mind. And God, this happened at Accounting Web. So shout out to Tally for it. Shout out to Mike for giving me some good weed, but I got too high that you guys had to leave. Like we were all hanging out on the porch, and I made you guys leave. I was like, oh God, I was stuck in my head. Like that's a bad high, but I don't know if it was the bad mindset or it was just like too powerful, right? So some people have had a bad high and then they don't want to smoke weed again because like, oh, I don't like smoking weed because I was in a bad state of mind and then I got high and then I got tunneled into this like deterioration of thought, right? Like you just kind of spiral downward and then it just gets worse and worse. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but I definitely have.
I'm going to take your word for it. You seem like a professional there. But how about this one? What are you going to give it today? Based on the combination of what it is and how you're doing.
So we rank our L10 meetings at the end of every L10 once a week, and that's an EOS term. And 1 out of 10. And L10 reading like you should be ranking it a 10. Right. Most of the time I give it a 7 or an 8 because it just didn't impress me much. I was like, it's all right. Like we didn't do anything that's spectacular. So for this, a translation of that would be like if I gave it a 4.5, that would be pretty good, right?
Out of 5?
4.5, yeah. And I think I'm rating the conversation, not the weed. Like I thought the conversation was pretty good. Maybe 4.25. I thought we did pretty good. We held our own. Did I hold it down for Matthew?
You did. You held it down. I mean, definitely brought a different vibe for sure. We needed that. Something a little different than Matthew, I'm
trying not to lean in too hard on the accounting high. Like it's still got to be educational, right? Like it's still got to be. Right. You can't lean in too much on the weed. It can't just be like a big pot leaf and say accounting high. Like I'm going to get high and talk about accounting. Like that's not going to.
Isn't that what we just did here? Isn't that what just happened though?
It is, but it was subtle. It was subtle as hell. Like nothing about it was like direct in your face until right now, until I started ranking the weed. Right?
That's true. That's a good point.
I think there's an educational aspect of it. And if you want to get CPE for listening to this, check out Earmark, and that's where your exams are held for accounting high. That's the exam room. That's the proctor of your exam.
We'll see if we can get Blake to maybe put the strain, whatever it is that's got smoked as one of the CPE questions. Can you do that?
Sunset Sherbet. Well, Blake's not going to be doing it himself, but I'll ask if we submit this episode.
Could that be one of them? Yeah.
So who does
the first time ever?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
for the first time.
Well, cool, brother. I appreciate you coming on very last minute. We were going to try to do some more of this stuff while we were out and about.
It's hard, man. Weeks. I recorded one episode.
We were just having too much fun being like in person. It's a little tough to stop and like do all the recording.
Oh, guess what I found out today?
What's that?
I'm going to do a live Suns at ZeroCon. Nice. It might be a live accounting high. by that time.
Nice. But
I
hey,
don't know the details yet. I don't know the details, but
I'll tell everybody out there. We'll drop this Friday. If you're listening, come find us at Engage. Right? You want
Engage.
to
That's where it
come find us
starts.
at Engage. We'll get the conversations going.
The liquidity lounge, the liquidity lizard,
liquidity lounge.
the liquidity lizard. What's the L?
Cosmopolitan.
What's the L? Other word?
Legible. Well, that's
Legible.
just
The liquidity.
we think our friends from
legible.
Legible will be helping us host parties every night at the Cosmo.
if
We
we
got a
record
good
there, it'll
corner
be
suite.
brought
And
to
you
you
can sit
by-
out there, and we're going to
Oof.
be overlooking all the fountains.
Don't
So
tell me all this shit. If I can't stay there, I'm not even going to show up. If
You're
I
going to
can't
be there
crash
the
there,
whole time, dude. You're fine.
I won't even show
Stop.
up. I got my own
Please
place.
do.
I'm going to throw rival parties. I'm going to have my
Do
own
that.
lounge.
Do that. You do that.
I'm going to have the laser lounge.
All right. Well, cheers, everyone.
Laser tag. I got a laser tag set.
Appreciate you coming on for the collab. You know where to find each of us, right? You got to come on here and hit subscribe. You got to come drop us some comments over here on the YouTube side.
Some comments.
Definitely go.
Oh, you didn't talk about your numbers. Did you look at your numbers? What are your numbers at?
I've forgotten them already. I looked them up and I tried to pull them up on my phone. No, they were like, they're not much. Like ours are only, like a few hundred, like a week or something like that.
All right.
You're like,
well, I know that you're getting some numbers because when I go in, it suggests
we only dropped it on the podcast like 2 months ago. We've been doing YouTube for 2 years. So we're working on that audience, but it's growing. Not like you guys, but we're getting there.
Well, you're rising.
Help us pump those numbers up.
I think we all rise together, especially with consistency. And
we'll be putting cross links over to all the Sun stuff. Everybody already listens to you guys. So, but let's click subscribe on both.
Everybody. If you don't listen to Sons of CPAs, it's still called Sons of CPAs. So you can definitely find it there. One day it will soon be Accounting High and we'll drop it. Well, I'll release this on that feed too. This will be like a dual, right? And gosh, this will be edited a hell of a lot sooner than these 42 episodes over to my right. So,
Lord, I hope so. But
I mean, there, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, in the meantime, everyone like, subscribe, find us at Engage. And also, dude, good luck with your COVID.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that much. That was what the topic of this episode was supposed to be, right?
The COVID, COVID collaboration.
The COVID collab, the case of the common COVID.
Nothing can stop us.
This is what's going to happen every year. We're all going to get COVID at some point. Like we used to get the flu, right? And we won't know if it's the flu or COVID. It'll just be, I got a cold. I get it. People die of the cold every year. You know that. There's probably
it's dangerous. I was telling you, man, I was super productive. Like it almost took COVID to get me like not traveling and running around. Like I just locked in and lived in a room in my house and just kind of got a bunch of work done.
Dude, I have had 13 different appointments since I've been home. My calendar, I had a post-conference calendar. I had a case of the post-conference COVID calendar. Dude. This shit was so full after 3 weeks. It was just go crazy. Oh man. All right. Thanks everybody for listening.
Appreciate you coming on. Peace.
Peace.